It's Thursday, May 29th, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5. I am Dan Rubin, joined today by 24/7 Sports National Recruiting Director Steve Wiltfong. We're going to attack things a little bit differently today, given the recruiting roller coaster we've been on for the last 2 days. And Steve, it started with the commitment of Joe Burrow, which kind of came out of nowhere the other day. Then there was the Travis Waller intrigue over the last 24 hours. Kind of bring us up to speed of where quarterback recruiting for the class of 2015 is right now for the Buckeyes, so we can kind of put a bow on this whole last few days.
Yeah, well, you know, the Joe Burrow name has always been on the radar, but not one of the names that Ohio State fans and media have been talking about compared to some of the other guys across the nation. But Ohio State, they've been monitoring Joe Burrow since last summer. And since he camped, he's put on 20 pounds, and they followed his season and his game film. And talking to sources, it sounds like the second half of Joe Burrow's season really stood out and really showed that he was capable of being the guy in Ohio State's class. From there, Coach Herman and Coach Meyer and the staff, went around the country and evaluated all the guys that could be potentially guys that they went on and offered, and when it was all said and done, it came back to Joe Burrow, an in-state kid, the nation's number 10 dual-threat quarterback, and a guy with the intangibles, a coach's son. His dad's the defensive coordinator for the Ohio Bobcats, and, Urban Meyer and those guys decided to pull the trigger, and he jumped on it.
There's been some chatter on the message boards that Ohio State may have settled, and I put that in air quotes, on Joe Burrow. Bill Kurlick is also reporting as of his buzz, which was posted late last night, and you should go check out, that if the Buckeyes do add another quarterback in this class, there's only one name that you need to be worried about. That's Torrance Gibson. Do you get the sense that the Buckeyes settled for Joe Burrow, or that they chose Joe Burrow over someone, let's say, like Travis Waller out of California?
Well, I don't think Urban Meyer has a track record for settling, especially in May, this far away from signing day. They've proven that they'll be patient and wait on top targets. I think that Joe Burrow is a prospect that what didn't bring as much attention to himself as maybe some other names. But Ohio State was recruiting Joe Burrow for as long as they were recruiting everybody else. It just wasn't as talked about. They followed his junior season closely. They went and saw him throw. And they kept in touch with Joe and his coach. They brought Joe in this spring, and so I think that they chose Joe over everybody else. Now, I'm not saying it was an easy decision. I think that there was some debate and some conversation and some back and forth. But I do think that they definitely did not settle.
Given all of that, and given Bill's reporting on the fact that if and I put that in capital letters, the Buckeyes add another quarterback to the class of 2015, it will be Torrance Gibson. Give us your read on kind of the Torrance Gibson situation, from 30,000 feet here, kind of how you see it developing from here on out.
Well, I think that there's going to be a lot of different leaders leading up to when Torrance finally pulls the trigger late in the recruiting process. He's going to take his visits. He's going to go to Auburn's Big Cat Weekend, and I expect Auburn to put on a show for him, and that's going to be a great fit for him, and he's really going to like Auburn. But he's eventually going to get to Columbus and check out Ohio State, and Ohio State and Urban Meyer and those guys have a great track record for showing prospects a good time on campus as well, and I think he's really going to like what he sees in Columbus, and I think Ohio State's going to be a player till the end as well. So it'll be more about following the visits and things like that moving forward, and when Ohio State can get Torrance on campus. But there's no doubt that Torrance Gibson's a top prospect for Ohio State, regardless of position. He always has been one of the top guys on the board.
Okay, so just to wrap it up here, people, Joe Burrow is in the class of 2015, and if there's another quarterback, it may be Torrance Gibson. We should be in it till the end. Just touching on a couple more quick things here. Hearing that the Hubbard crew will come down here this weekend. What's your thoughts on that group?
Well, George Hill's been on commit watch for a long time. So every time he comes to Ohio State, a 2016 athlete, a kid that can play some slot, some running back, a very fast, skilled player that adds some versatility to the Ohio State offense. He'll be back on campus. And then L.J. Scott, one of the nation's top running backs, but a young man that has some improving to do away from the football field. But as he continues to do that, his opportunity to attend Ohio State grows and grows. Right now, I think Michigan State's the team to beat, but we'll see if Ohio State's a school that becomes a realistic possibility for him as he continues to improve improve what he needs to improve on away from the football field. And if that falls into place, then I think his recruitment gets a lot more interesting.
There you have it, people. We'd like to thank Steve Wiltfong for joining us. A couple other things to make a note of. There was just a bolt that got shot out on Darius Fullwood, the defensive end out of suburban D.C. that says he's going to be announcing on June 28th. Check that out. We've got the boarding house coming up today with some interesting thoughts on Urban Meyer and Torrance Gibson. And then don't forget to look out for the Long View and Outside Columbus also coming to you today. Thanks for joining us, Bucknutters.